What if I told you that being nice could be slowly compromising your immune system and possibly killing you? Mm, Today's going to be a good time, you guys. I want to talk to you about how self silencing increases the risk of heart disease in women per studies, as well as how being silently pissed off is fueling autoimmune diseases in women of color. If that sounds good to you, hit the like button and absolutely share this video. Share it on your timeline, share it on YouTube, share it on Facebook, share it on Threads. I'm not on Blue Sky, share it over there. Women of color specifically, but all women need to hear this. All women socialized in Western societies need to hear this information because your silence is literally killing you. And so today we're going to talk about that. And then I'm going to encourage you to be more disappointing. But before we begin, let me introduce myself. Hey, everyone. My name is Roshini Cope. I am a content creator. I am a special needs mom, and I am a certified life coach for Black and West Indian women. I help Black and West Indian women change their lives on their healing journeys. If this concept is new to you, let me know if you were aware that silencing yourself or being quiet could actually be killing you, killing you. Hey, Marissa. Hi, Lori. I see you guys. I am live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. I think the technology is actually working in my favor today, and I'm live on all three. If you are watching on whatever platform, drop a pineapple in the chat and tell me where you are watching from, whether platform or city, state, etc. Okay. So let me introduce this conversation to you and let's get right into it because I have copious notes. So if you see me looking down, it's because I might just be reading things off of papers. Y'all have heard me say that I love to read a good research study. I'm a nerd at heart. Okay. I am a non-academic by choice, but not in reality because I love a good research study. Okay. And when the things align and make sense, they're making sense. And I need you guys to hear this. Okay. So let me give you guys the introduction to this thought and why I need to share this with you guys. First of all, there are relationships in my life where in my past, I would literally say to myself and to others that being around these people was shortening my lifespan. Why was I saying that? I could just tell. I could literally just tell that something about my interaction with specific relationships, I'm talking about like 20s and 30s and stuff, my 20s and 30s, was doing something to me that was going to shorten my lifespan. Why could I tell that? I do not know. But the vocabulary that I chose back then was, this is making my life shorter. Come to find out, I was not wrong. Because you guys, studies show, okay, you ready for this? In the United States, between 24 and 50 million people suffer from some sort of autoimmune disease. 4 out of 5 of those people, which is 80% of people diagnosed with autoimmune disease in the US, are women. And that's the majority of the people watching my content. Okay, so perk up. And those ratios are super striking because for lupus, it's 9 women to 1 man. For Sjogren's, I don't know how to pronounce that properly. And unfortunately, I have a family member who has this, but I still am not saying it properly. Sjogren apostrophe S. Sjogren's syndrome, it's 19 women to 1 man diagnosed with these autoimmune diseases. Okay. So if you gather up all of the people with autoimmune diseases alone, I'm going to get to cardiovascular health, right? 4 of them would be women. If you gather 5 people with autoimmune diseases, 4 of them out the gate are women. And I know listening to this video right now, because those statistics are so high, everyone listening either knows somebody with one of these diagnoses or is somebody with one of these diagnoses. Okay. I know women, multiple women with lupus, and my family member has, yes, hi S. Oliver. Hi, nice to see you again. This Schrongens, I'm gonna say that. Mm, I heard it pronounced yesterday and it's still not working in my brain. Okay. She says Venus Williams has it. Yes. Okay. So this is the right audience to listen to this video. Okay. Because I want you to know that you don't wait till the battle is over. I need you to speak up and cuss them out now. I'm joking. I'm not. Don't cuss them out unless you feel like it, okay? Unless you're going to do it. But I need you to learn that speaking up and being more disappointing to people is good for your health. It's good for your health. Okay, let's keep going. I told you guys, ridiculous amounts of notes. So if it looks like I'm looking down, it's because I wanted to get this right. Let's talk about what self-silencing is. Okay, CG says Venus pronounced it Sjogren's. Is that right, CG? Sjogren's. I'm going to go with that. Sjogren's. Okay, Sjogren's. Got it. Thank you so much. Okay. Let's talk about what self-silencing is, all right? It's pretty it's in the definition of it, but basically it's shutting yourself up. Yeah? Self-silencing is suppressing your true feelings. It's choosing to either actively and not sharing what you actually think, or telling yourself in your head, you don't think what you think, you don't feel what you feel. That's self-silencing. It's suppression of your true feelings. Okay? And studies show that self-silencing is linked with inflammation, and that inflammation, specifically in the studies that I was reading, is linked with an increase in cardiovascular disease and early mortality in women, meaning women who do this die earlier, and an increase in autoimmune diseases in women of color. Okay, I'm gonna read what I wrote. Every time you swallow your words and you bite your tongue or push down what you really want to say or what you actually feel and do not express it, your body pays a price for at least 3 to 4 hours of increased inflammation. I'm gonna read it again. Listen, this is so important to me because when I was reading this, I was like, I was right. Oh, I knew it. Oh, I knew it. And I got to get this out to you guys. Every time you swallow your words, every time you bite your tongue, every time you push down what you really think or feel and do not express it, your body pays a price of inflammation for 3 to 4 hours. That's not minutes, that's hours. Okay? And in that hour time frame, 3 to 4 hour time frame, your immune system is compromised. And that inflammation begins to spread throughout your whole body. I knew it. I knew it. Okay. Now think of it this way. If you are in a situation that is always requiring you to swallow your words and bite your tongue and push down your thoughts and dissociate from yourself what you actually feel and never express it with a partner or at work or with friends or in family or in religious scenarios, anywhere. If you are silencing yourself multiple times a day, you are essentially keeping your body in a constant state that is immunocompromised and inflamed. Listen, that's the topic of the whole video. If you can't watch an hour video, because I'm about to go at it for an hour, but if you can't watch an hour video and that gets you all the way together, that's what I need you to hear. Okay. I read, you know how the people on TikTok say, I watched this 17-part series so you don't have to. I read the articles and the studies so you don't have to. However, I linked the study and article the two top ones that I was looking at, not all of them, in the information box. I think I did. If I didn't, I'll go back. Okay, I'll go back. Okay. It's not about being dramatic, you guys. It's literally about how your biology responds to being silenced. Listen, listen. It's a lot. But listen, I wrote out words last night. This was serious, okay? I had to get this out. So let me tell you how this creates a perfect storm in women's bodies specifically, which is who's watching this. First of all, women have a genetic factor at play, right? Scientists at Stanford University discovered that the second X chromosome that women have produces a molecule that triggers our bodies to create antibodies against our own tissues. Good for us. Yay. Okay. We have a predisposition to being faster to trigger antibodies that can come against our own tissues. Why? I have no idea. God's going to have to tell us why the double up on the X chromosome does that to us, right? So that's just our biological foundation. We are more sensitive to these ruptures in connection and how they can affect us biologically. And actually saying it that way makes sense because we are probably wired. My guess would be we're wired that way so that we make better choices in connection, so that we have better choices in procreation and we are safe. We and our offspring are safe. That would be my guess, but I don't know that to be true. Okay. All I know is something about the way we set up with this double X, we get the joy of this special molecule, right? That has more propensity to turn against our own tissues. Yeah, we're more sensitive to the effects of inflammation. You got that? Than a man. Okay. So if you take that foundation and then you layer on top of it the fact that society has taught us that there are all of these reasons why we should be quiet, should silence ourselves, should not feel our feels, should not think our thoughts, should not express our anything, right? Every time you are swallowing your true feelings, your body goes into the stress response for that 3 to 4 hour period I told you about. You create the room for the compromised immune system, right? You trigger inflammation. And it's on top of that foundation of already being more susceptible to the inflammation, to the molecule that turns on itself. So here's where it gets critical. There was research in 2020 that found out that high stress and depression, right, which is a common result of self-silencing, and I'm going to get into this in a second more with the research, right? High stress and depression, which is a common result of zipping it up and not saying anything about how you feel and being quiet so you don't rock the boat. And I guess I'm gonna let them think that. And I mean, I don't really think that. How many times should you forgive your brother 75-7? They talking crazy to me, but that's just how people are at work. And I have a good job and I got benefits. And that's just how they are. You know how they are. That's just how men are. That's just how they are. He's always been that way his whole life. That's how grandpa is. When you are in high stress and depressed situations that are common results of self-silencing, right? There is a direct correlation. Research shows that there's a direct correlation to the increase in autoimmune disease. The University of Pittsburgh found that women who agreed with statements like, quote, "I rarely express my anger to those who are close to me," had a 70% higher risk of cardiovascular issues. The University of Pittsburgh, I'm reading it again, found that women who agreed with the statements like, quote, "I rarely express my anger to those that are close to me," had a 70% higher risk of cardiovascular disease. So the result is an increase specifically in women of conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, lupus, where women outnumber men 9-1, Sjogren's syndrome, where women outnumber men 19-1, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, and irritable bowel syndrome. Marissa says, so everybody is about to get told off. Don't wait till the battle is over. Cuss them out now. I'm just joking. I'm joking, you guys, but I'm not, but I am not. I'm going to take a little pause and I'm going to keep going. I have been saying for years, depression is the opposite of expression. I have said to you on multiple, I have said to people in my real life, I don't think I've ever said it to you guys, but I'm being more honest nowadays because listen, we out here trying to heal ourselves. Okay. Where did Alicia's comment go? You can literally feel it. Something in my body knew that interacting, exposing myself to certain people, just raw dogging them with no boundaries whatsoever, was shortening my life. Something knew it. There was like a thing that knew it. And here I am finding, actually what happened is somebody sent me I think I said it to them in real life. They sent me a podcast of a researcher talking about it. And I was like, more? And then I went right to look up the research study. I started reading the research studies. I put the link to the study below, the Framingham study. And I was like, oh my God, that is literally what I've been saying this whole time. Okay, this whole time. All right, let's get back to my copious notes. So the study I just told you about is linked on all the platforms. It's called the Framingham. What is it called? I'm going to go up here. It's called the Framingham something study. Self-silencing and the risk of heart disease and death in women. It's linked in the information box. Okay. So this one specifically is talking about research that shows, and that has shown that women who are silent and don't speak up, this was in the context specifically of a relationship context, had a increased incidence of cardiovascular issues and early mortality. So if I remember, the study was basically, they were following groups of women who were in marriages or in marriage-like partnerships, right? Cohabitating. And they studied the women who, after arguments and disagreements with their partner, and they were basically categorizing these women into the women who would express how they felt during, after whatever disagreement, and the women who wouldn't, who would self-silence, who would hush themselves up. And the women who, all the women experienced disagreements. So it wasn't like people were not having arguments, disagreements, whatever. Everybody experienced the disagreements. But the women who hushed themselves up during the disagreements, who didn't say what they actually thought, who swallowed their words, who bit their tongue, who told themselves everything's fine and just pish-poshed it, those women had an increase in cardiovascular disease and early mortality. Or yes, early mortality, meaning they died earlier. Okay, I don't want to get fancy with the words. Them heifers died earlier. Okay, them heifers silenced themselves all the way to the grave. Okay, so the Framingham Heart Study found that women who routinely kept their feelings to themselves during conflicts had a 4 times higher risk of dying compared to women who expressed their feelings during conflicts. See, the difference is not whether they had the conflicts, okay? The difference is whether they expressed or did not express. When they factored in things like depression, the risk factor jumped to 5 times higher. Depression is the opposite of expression. I've been trying to tell y'all. Listen, I'm not telling y'all from up high on the mountain. I'm telling you from lived experience. Okay. So this isn't about being too sensitive or being like all up in your head. This is a measurable thing, physical response happening in people's bodies every single time, in women's bodies every single time we choose to silence ourselves over speaking or at least acknowledging and expressing the truth. You know how I always tell y'all that this system's gonna ride us into the grave? The system of patriarchy teaches us to be nice. Niceness also includes not speaking up, being quiet, covering. We always covering for somebody. We covering for men. We covering for parents. We covering for church. We covering everybody, and nobody's covering us. And the system of patriarchy that teaches us to be nice means to cover is killing us. I keep trying to tell y'all, you follow these systems, this conveyor belt that they put you on, and the next thing you know, the conveyor belt drops you off in a shiny box at the end in a funeral, and people looking down over you talking about she was always so nice. You niced yourself into an early grave. Anyway, now let's talk about the paradox of permission. Y'all are here for my lecture, okay? I have notes today. I needed somebody to hear this. It needed to come out, okay? We've been trained, women have been trained to be pleasant, to be agreeable, and to be emotionally controlled. Our job as women is to be emotionally controlled. Boys will be boys. But have you ever heard anybody say girls will be girls? No. We are angry Black women, right? Because we are not supposed to dare us express actual true emotions, right? Okay. So, walking through life with the emotions that you were given, the full, complex, robust, right? Beautiful, varied emotions that were divinely designed and put into you so they could be indicators on the dashboard of your life, and learning to ignore them, diminish them before anybody else, not express them, stuff them, silence yourself before someone else silences you, inevitably leads to self betrayal. Yeah. You don't have to worry about other people betraying your emotions because you pre-betray yourself. We at first, when we were younger, we have the emotions, we express them, and unfortunately, if we are not given safe places for our whole self to show up and modeled what to do with big emotions. You know how that happens now? It's like people are like trying to teach their kid, what do you do with these big emotions? If the people who came before you did not have information to share with you about modeling what to do with your big emotions, and they didn't know what to do with their big emotions, you could have very well been mishandled. And that mishandling could show up later in your life as you thinking that the goal is to be pleasant and agreeable and emotionally controlled, and you become your own self-betrayer. Okay. Examples of self-betrayal. I wrote down a few of them. I actually wrote out. You agree to go to an event, right? You don't want to go to that event, but you say yes because yes is what you're expected to say, or you can't bring yourself to say no. So then you spend weeks dreading this event and making yourself sick with anxiety, and low key getting annoyed at everybody, mad at everybody, when the person who your ire should be directed at is, well, I shouldn't say ire. I don't think you should direct your ire, but the person who is accountable for the fact that you are going to the event is you. And the reason you're going to the event is because saying no in the moment felt hard for you. And the reason why saying no in the moment felt hard is because you chose momentary relief and self-silencing over future gain and expression. And you also, as we see by this study, you are contributing to your compromised immune response. And then all the doors are open for all these sicknesses to ravage our body. Another example of something that would be like self-betrayal could be staying quiet in a meeting when you thoroughly disagree with the decision being made. So you're in the room for some reason because you are pertinent to this meeting, and you decide to just be quiet. And then sitting there and watching the decision that was created without your input crash and burn in front of your eyes. That could be affecting your autoimmune response. And we talked about what that does. Another example is telling someone it's fine when something is bothering you. Let me tell you something. I don't even say okay anymore when I respond to somebody and I don't agree because I made a decision a couple years ago not to affirm anything I don't affirm. My yes is yes and my no is no. And I practice it every single time. I will say something like, noted, I hear you. I say something neutral. I don't negate, but I don't affirm either. Because even those little things of like, oh, it's fine, or okay, something about that wasn't rocking with my spirit. And now that I know this, that means that that's like taking a vitamin of truth, okay? Because it's not okay. It's noted, okay? So you say it's okay, it's fine when something is actually bothering you and not okay. And then you walk around feeling resentment build up inside of you over something for weeks on end because you affirmed something or you made somebody think that their thing was okay when it was not. That's self betrayal. Okay. Another example of self betrayal is taking on extra work when you know you're already overwhelmed because you don't want to let other people down. So you're more willing to let yourself down. And as we can see now, you're more willing to let yourself down spiritually, psychologically, mentally, emotionally, and physically because it affects your physical health. And then going around being upset about the fact that you're even more overwhelmed now and eventually delivering low quality work to them, either because you're exhausted or because you're being passive aggressive. Mercy, you knew what you were here for. Okay. You know, you and I don't play. We like to kick the door open to the freedom. Okay. You and I like to kick the door open to the liberty that's on the other side. Amen. Okay. That's what we like to do. Okay. You knew what you were here for. The door is right there. And you and I don't like to stand on one side of the door and stare at it. We like to kick it open with steel toe boots. Right. Another example is saying, I don't care what we do. Mm. When you actually care what we do, you actually have a preference. You actually would want to go do something else. So you say, it's fine. I don't care what we do. But then the whole time y'all doing the thing you said you didn't care about, you over there frustrated because you feel unheard. That's self-betrayal, you guys. That's self-betrayal, right? Being nice, quote unquote, isn't actually being nice because when you are constantly nice at the expense of your own true feelings, you're not just hurting yourself, you're actually lying to everyone around you. You're lying to yourself and you're lying to the people around you. You you are choosing to and then you're forcing them to make decisions that pertain to you based on what is basically false information. Hold on to your horses. Okay, people pleasers, hold on to your horses. Y'all know I like to come for y'all because I am y'all. This is something I've had to learn. I'm coming, just brace yourself. I'm getting there. You build a relationship on a version of you that actually does not exist. And then every time you say yes and you mean no, you're teaching people around you to misread you. So is that really nice? Is it nice to make people believe something that is actually not true? Is it nice to make them feel guilty later when you inevitably burn out and break down and potentially blow up on them, right? Is that nice? You're hurting yourself by putting yourself into a immunocompromised state full of inflammation and susceptible to all manner of diseases and potentially even if prolonged and persistent over time, a increased and early state of mortality. That's death for the people who don't know what mortality is. Okay. And you're lying in their face. That's not love. That's not nice. Okay. Real kindness is rooted in truth. If you're a Christian, and even if you're not, Bible says truth will set you free. The Bible said the truth you know will set you free. The truth is where the liberty is. The truth is where the liberty is. I was watching a little tangent and then I'll come back. I was watching an episode of the Diary of a CEO podcast, and he had on, I'm going to mess up her name. What's her name? Her name is, it was the most recent one, Martha something. And apparently she's Oprah's life coach. I know of her. I've heard her name in the past, but I don't like know her work. But interesting episode, just kind of listening to it in the background. And she was talking about how she had an experience growing up in her younger years where she decided to stop lying. And that meant a huge shift in her life because she grew up Mormon, she was married with kids and a whole thing. And when she had what basically was a near-death experience on a surgery table, she came out of that experience and decided to operate in her life only from truth and only tell the truth. And that shifted her to not being Mormon anymore, not being married anymore, accepting that she was gay. Her actual husband, he's gay too. Like they was just out here just lavender marriaged up. Okay, like all this stuff. Okay. And she's walking through life now, basically choosing truth. And she gave this example. If you go to YouTube and look up Diary of the CEO, I think it might be Martha Beck. Give me a second. Let me Google. I'm gonna Google while I'm sitting here. Okay. Martha Beck. I don't know her. That looks right. Yeah, her. Martha Beck. Yes, you are correct. Alicia's correct. It is Martha Beck. I don't know her work. Her name sounds vaguely familiar, but yeah, her. Diary of a CEO podcast. I was watching it recently because they got me because at the very first 5 seconds, they were showing something that my acupuncturist does. And I don't understand why my acupuncturist is doing it. But now I got it. Okay. Because neurologically, Martha explained it to me. The thing with the hand pushing. I was like, why she be doing that? Now I got it. Anyway, that's why I watched it. And I found out this thing. But anyway, Martha goes on to talk about this vow of truth that she has taken over in her life and how it shows up and how she will do an exercise with people during like talks that she gives that shows how we are so conditioned to lie we don't even know we're lying. I'm going to explain it really briefly, but I highly recommend you go back and watch her explain it because it's her work and I might mess something up. She says she'll go to like a hotel room or something for a conference and she'll be talking to a bunch of people sitting in chairs at a hotel room. And she'll stop during the call and she'll say, is everybody comfortable? Does anybody need anything? Is everybody comfortable? And everybody will be like, yes, I'm feeling good. I'm fine. Continue. And then she'll ask them, so can I ask you a question? If you were at home right now, would you be sitting in this exact same position that you are sitting in right now, listening to me? And she said that inevitably somebody, one or more people will respond to her and say, no, I would not be. And when she says, why? They will say, because I'm not comfortable. And then she will point out to them that they should be concerned about the fact that 5 minutes ago, when she asked, is everybody comfortable? They said they were comfortable. So they were lying. And she shows us that we are trained in certain spaces in the systems that we are put into. In this specific example, it would be school, to ignore our body, to ignore our body's cues telling us we are actually uncomfortable, because within the context of an authority figure standing in front of a room talking, right? A conference session is very much like a school room. We are taught that we can be comfortable-ish, or whether we're comfortable or not doesn't matter. We're supposed to sit down and shut up and be on these hard chairs. And she was like, so you're lying and you don't even know it. Anyway, she explains that so much better within the context of the whole thing. But I wanted to bring that up to show you that it is very easy to think you are doing something and not realize that you are socialized to it. Marissa says it right here. We're socialized to lie because you're not comfortable. You're comfortable within the context that people told you you're allowed to be within the confines of this job, this relationship, this church, this whatever business. But you've actually learned to ignore your body. But your body operates in reality. You can trick your mind. The mind includes your will, your emotions, and your imaginations as well. You could be all in all kind of craziness in your imaginations in the mind. You could trick the mind all day and all night, but you cannot trick the body. You know what I just realized? I sat down here and started yapping my mouth. I didn't even tell y'all about talk about trick the body. I have a swollen eye. There's a sty happening. I've spoken to the doctor. It's been all week. The enemy been trying to get me. Okay. You can't trick the body. Okay. The body keeps the score. It's the name of a very important and seminal book by Bessel van der Kolk. I have it up there on the shelf. Your body lives in reality. Your body tries to tell you. Let's go back to the self-silencing. Your body will tell you something ain't right. And your brain will tell it, be quiet, and you'll do something. And you are conditioned to do that over years and years and years. Okay, let's talk about it. So what are the health stakes about keeping quiet, about being silent? Okay. And then what's the solution? Cardiovascular impacts. The research shows that women who habitually suppress their feelings, who rarely express their anger, right, to those who are close to them, had a 70% higher risk of cardiovascular disease. Specifically, the Framingham heart study, the one I just said was from the University of Pittsburgh. The Framingham heart study, which I have linked in the information box, revealed that women who routinely kept their feelings to themselves during conflicts had a 4 times higher risk of dying compared to women who expressed their feelings during conflicts, right? And like I told you guys before, when you bring in the factor of depression, the risk jumps to 5 times higher. So your heart literally cannot take the strain of your silence. So we've seen that it affects autoimmune diseases. We understood that women have a propensity to be affected more easily and quickly by inflammation because of our double X chromosome. And then on top of that, the silencing, how it affects inflammation. We now find out that it increases the risk of cardiovascular disease by 70%. And it also increases the risk of depression 5 times higher. Your systems, your body lives in reality. You could lie to your mind all day and all night. Your body can't take the strain of you being silent, right? The numbers tell a clear story. Women who experience depression, like me, I have a depression diagnosis. Women who experience anxiety, I got the PTSD diagnosis as well, and PTSD, we experience these things at twice the rate of men, right? We experience these conditions at twice the rate of men. Yeah. And it could be all, I don't know this to be true, but if you look at what they understand from studies, it could be all connected to the same root that I'm sharing with you, which is one, the physiological, the biological propensity to be affected by inflammation more than men, and the cultural conditioning to stay quiet and agreeable and put everyone first. Does that make sense? So we are being affected at a higher rate than our male counterparts because one, physiologically, we have a molecule that responds to inflammation more than men do. And on top of that, culturally, we are conditioned to be quiet, agreeable, to stay silent, and to put everyone else's needs before our own. Right? We're also told that being honest is being mean. We're told that being honest is being mean, but it's not being mean. It's being truthful. Speaking your truth is not about being harsh or cruel. I've spoken about overcorrections. Often when people don't know how to do a thing or they get a bad result, they think to themselves, okay, well, to fix it, I have to swing all the way over here and overcorrect. I have to pendulum swing. And they end up becoming an electric fence. And what you will find is once the pendulum swings back and forth, the actual solution you're looking for is somewhere more balanced and in the middle. So speaking the truth does not have to be harsh or cruel, but if you're a person that has not learned how to speak your truth, much less you don't even know what you think, what you feel, what your truth is, because you've just been stunted your whole life. It can be very difficult. And often people like that will then turn to becoming an electric fence, screaming and yelling and bucking up on people because they don't even have the tools, right? It's not about throwing your feelings around like weapons to harm other people. It's about being honest with yourself first, because in communication, the first person you have to learn how to communicate with is you. You cannot communicate things to other people clearly if you do not know it yourself. The first person you have to learn how to communicate clearly with is yourself. You cannot silence yourself to yourself and then expect other people to hear you. So you have to be more honest, show up and be more honest with you about your things. And I know that's hard, you guys. I'm living through all of that. I've been living through it. I'm living through it right now. And as the old people say, I guess I'm going to keep living and find out more about it. Okay. You can't tell people anything about how you feel. Part of the reason why you're probably deregulating and screaming all over the place is because you don't know how you feel. Okay. You a big baby. You just having a tantrum and you expect them to understand whatever you're saying inside that tantrum and they can't understand it. So the overcorrection is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying be mean. I'm not saying be harsh. Excuse me. I'm not saying that that's the solution. I'm looking at my notes. I want to make sure that I don't forget anything. Okay. It's about being honest. It's about learning to identify what you feel and then being able to communicate it to other people. Saying things like, that doesn't work for me. Right? It's about replacing the fake version of you that you've been showing up with, this fake, nice version of you, with a real, authentic version of you, and feeling safe enough and courageous enough, right? Doing the work to figure out how to get you to feel safe, your nervous system to feel safe, your understanding of what's going on to feel safe enough to sit and be yourself in front of other people. Because let me see if I could say this, because it's in my brain, but I don't know if I'm going to get it out. The back and forth of being a quiet person or a silent woman is fueled by the cultural collaboration with other silent women. If I don't say what I feel to you, you're not going to say what you feel to me. If I'm a person who chooses to walk through the world silenced, I probably cannot receive other people's truth because I don't have practice. We both are living down here in our communication skills. I won't say what I think, and you don't say what you think. But if I interact or encounter a person who is healthier and who is saying what they actually think, the truth in love, right? The real authentic them has shown up. Because I believe that our social contract is to be quiet, I might not be able to receive a healthy person's truth. I'm operating down here, and I think the social contract is you need to come down here and be quiet with me. Right? And so you have this unhealthy, immature interaction going on back and forth, where the belief is that being honest is being mean, right? The kindest thing you can do is disappoint someone with the truth. Write that down. The kindest thing you can do is disappoint someone with the truth rather than comfort them with a big fat lie. You want to be nice? Be more disappointing. You want to be nice? Be more disappointing. You want to live longer? Be more disappointing. You know how people be like, boy, these old people to say whatever they want to. And it's going to be 99 years old. How you think she get to be 99 years old? According to the studies, because she say whatever she want to. Do it for me, Jesus. Okay. I want you to start reframing your authenticity and your expression as a health necessity, like a supplement that you take every day. Okay. And not just some luxury for other people who are brave. It's a supplement. Okay. Stop treating your authenticity like something that you'll get to someday when you have more time, or maybe when you have more confidence, or maybe when you have more support. Okay. The research is clear, you guys. Your body cannot sustain the cost of your silence. If you are a woman sitting here listening to me, your physical body cannot sustain the cost of your silence. If you are a woman of color, your physical body cannot sustain the cost of your silence. Your immune system, your heart, your entire physical being is begging for you. It needs you to, as a health necessity, speak up. Speak up. I don't mean cuss them out. Although you could. I'm not going to tell anybody not to cuss anybody out, okay? Is that wrong? Maybe, okay? I am a Black woman healing, ing, not healed. Okay? So from glory to glory. But there are other ways that you can express yourself besides just blurting things out in people's face. That's an overcorrection, right? You could write it in a journal. You could express it to your therapist. Listen, I love to go in my therapist's office and cuss people out. I'd be like, girl, give me 5 hot seconds. I need to cuss somebody out right quick because I didn't want to cuss them to their face. I'm going to cuss them right here on this screen. She'd be like, go for it. Because I know it's better out than in. Ain't that what Shrek say? Joe Journal and her shoulders are back. Take your daily vitamin of truth. It's better out than in. Okay? You ain't going to kill me sitting here. I also am very versed of late with boundary scripts, right? I learn how to say things like, oh, that doesn't work for me, or thank God that, for thinking about me, but I won't be able to do that, or I won't be able to make it. I don't always stay silent around people. I say what I have to say and I go about my business. I've just learned how to do it. I don't always do it in a person's face, right? I don't always do it in the person's face, but sometimes I do. So I want you to reframe it. Okay. Now let's talk about the solution, not the solution, but one of the things that you could do to make your authenticity a healthy necessity. I want you guys to remember this. Be more disappointing. There's literally no healthy way for you to not disappoint other people. You can't live a life where you don't disappoint other people. Be more disappointing. Be more disappointing, you guys. Your silence is killing you. It's okay. Learn, seek out how to sit with the discomfort of others. You know how we always doing all this like racial reconciliation work and this and that and other, and we're always telling all the privileged people to sit with the discomfort of others and discomfort of others. Well, you got to learn how to sit with the discomfort of others too. You got to learn how to sit, boo boo. If you can't sit with the discomfort of others and you're a people pleaser because you feel like you have to make sure everybody's okay and you don't disappoint this person, not only are you fake and you lying to them, you're lying to yourself, okay? And you're killing yourself, according to these studies. Listen, I want you to be the old 99-year-old woman saying whatever she wants. I don't want to be standing over your box, your shiny box, talking about she was so nice. So here are some steps to being more disappointing. First thing is, because if you're a people pleaser and you don't know how to do this, it's going to feel all kind of deregulation. You're going to be feeling it. Remember, your body lives in reality. Your body going to be like, oh my God, Roshini got me out here. Oh my God, I'm unsafe. Oh my God, right? You go, You got to practice small. Everybody memorize this phrase. Ready? Let me think about it. What's the phrase? Write it in the comment section. Let me think about it. When are you going to say, let me think about it? Instead of saying yes immediately, you're going to say, put in a comment, let me think about it. That's going to be your new best friend. Let me think about it. Yeah? Not yes. You're not going to say yes first. You're going to say, let me think about it. You're not going to say probably. You're not going to tell the person maybe. You're not going to do that. People pleaser. with your lying self. Sorry, that was not nice. That was unkind. Rush me high. Okay. I love you guys. Wait a second. Let me hydrate. Okay. I got a little. It's the eye. The eye is doing the talking. I apologize. Let me think about it, right? You're not even going to say, I'll check my calendar. I'll get back with you tomorrow. Okay. You know why you're going to do that? Let me think about it. Creates an immediate buffer zone between the request that was made of you and your response. It also helps you break that automatic yes reflex that you have developed trying to be nice and put other people in front of you. It gives you space to think through and check in and discern your own feelings. And the best part about it is you're not lying. You're not being fake. You're being entirely authentic. You're not avoiding them. You're not saying no, but you're not saying yes. You're actually giving both you and them an authentic response that honors you and honors them. It's more thoughtful. It's true because you do have to think about it. Next up, another example of learning how to be better at disappointment, to be more healthy in your disappointment, to have healthy disappointment. That's what I'm going to call it. Be more disappointing. Okay. And I said it before. You have to learn how to sit with other people's discomfort. Your discomfort, your comfort is going to come at the expense of other people's discomfort sometimes. That's just how it works. I don't know why God made it that way. That's just how it is. Okay. If you are running around living a life where everyone is comfortable around you, you are uncomfortable and you are breaking yourself into small pieces and you are compromising your immune system and you are leading to potential health concerns. When you start speaking your truth, you will notice something else starts to happen. Other people's discomfort increases, especially if you are one of these people that's been making people comfortable around you because you've attracted those types of people to you. So now it's almost like you got to do a detox, you got to do a purge. Okay. So when the flare up happens, don't be freaked out and be like, and run back into your shell. No, no. Okay. Because studies show that it's healthier for you to be more disappointing. It's gonna level out, right? You're also gonna notice that other people's discomfort feels like it's your emergency to solve. It's not your emergency to solve. It is not your job to regulate the emotions and nervous system of other adults. It is your job to regulate the emotions and nervous system of you, yourself, the adult, and to model that and walk through any minor children that you are parenting or the caregiver of. That's it. That's it. It's not your job. It was never your job. You all up in the mix and you weren't even supposed to be in there. You're an enabler. Okay. That's not empathy. That's enabling. You got a grown person consistently having all kind of meltdowns and tantrums and you tippy-toeing around them because you don't want to set them off. Let them set off. That person is 40, 48 years old. Okay. That's not your job. Stop practicing quelling the discomfort of other adults and start practicing sitting with the feeling that's happening with their disappointed looks, with their usual tantrum, because they're going to try to hook you because they know all of the things that typically make you silent, be quiet, not speak up, change your mind, do all of that, right? Sit in the silence. Say less. One of my favorite things to tell my coaching clients is to say something and stop talking. I did this. Y'all, I'm not telling, this is stuff I've learned, okay? I would just keep explaining myself and keep explaining myself. I have a video on YouTube right now. I know it's 13, 14 years old talking about stop explaining yourself. Just explain it. There's so much power in saying, let me think about that. You see that pause? There's so much power in a pause like that. There's power for you because you said what you said and it's kind of done. And you know you're not going to blather on saying a bunch of things and get roped into the usual dance that you guys dance in while this person is trying all of their ways to get you to regulate them, right? Learn to sit with that. There's always going to be that moment of like tension in your body. And I want you to just notice yourself in those moments. I don't care what they're doing. That's their job. Okay? Whatever they're doing, notice how, if you can survive it. Notice that if you say the thing with a period on the end of it, the world did not end. If they crash out because they have always relied on you to subjugate your emotional self so that they can get their needs met, their emotional regulation needs met, because they can't regulate themselves. They need you to do their emotional regulation for them. They've externalized it. If they crash out, you didn't crash out. And think of it like building a muscle, you guys. Every time you survive, because that's what it's going to feel like. It's going to feel like surviving at first. It's going to feel like surviving because you're probably doing this based off of valid, real traumas or lack of learning on your part. You probably were not, your yes and your no. How do I say this? I'm going to say it from my vantage point. I was not safe to say yes or no. I was not safe to establish, much less communicate a yes or a no when I was growing up. So when you learn that silence keeps you safe, it's a valid response to silence yourself. But now that we are older and we are adults and we are intentionally getting into the driver's seat of our own life, life's not happening to us, we're happening to life, right? And we get this new information and we're like, oh, I get to have a yes and a no. I get to have a beginning and an end. I get to have my thoughts. I have permission to feel exactly what I feel. And at times when I choose to express it, and I can learn the tools and skills to do so in a safe way, you can then learn how to survive other people's discomfort. And like a muscle, every time you practice it, you get stronger. For me, that has been true. For you, that can be true too. Their discomfort is their journey. It's not your responsibility. You watching the video, they crashing out, that ain't got nothing to do with you. Okay. You so busy focused on them, so you don't have to focus on yourself. That's a whole different video. Let me get, okay. God told me to be quiet on that one. I'm telling y'all my business. You so busy distracted over there, all up in their mix. Your life is coming asunder at the seams and you over there trying, anyway. Another way to practice healthy discomfort is to actually make disappointment a practice. Now, I'm not saying this to be a horrible human being. I'm saying this for the people whose natural bent is to not want to disappoint everyone. Okay. If you are the type of person who takes advantage of all the humans, this is not, I'm not telling you to do this, okay, because you probably already do this all the time. I'm talking about the people who already are over on the side trying to please everybody, who's trying to make everybody feel comfortable and who's trying to, look for everybody's interest above their own. Make disappointment a practice, right? Think of your disappointment muscle as a skill that you are trying to develop, and start with low stakes situations. I wrote down some examples. For example, when you go into a restaurant, order what you actually want and not what you think is the easiest thing. I go to restaurants and I have this one friend and she used to always have like some, change to her order. Can you bring this on the side? Can you this, that? And I used to be like, oh my God, because I grew up I grew up barely going to restaurants, and I grew up doing the easiest thing. I was trained by a parent to just not rock the boat. And so the idea of going into a restaurant and actually like asking them to take this off of it, or do you have that in the back? Can you add it? Was beyond me. Try that. It's a low stake situation where you can start practicing the muscle of speaking up. What about sharing a different opinion in a casual conversation? You know, you'd be sitting there talking to people and everybody, yeah, girl, yeah, girl. And in your head, you're thinking, I do not agree with that at all. I don't, what are y'all talking about? Ain't nobody, I don't. But often we might just not. If it's a low stakes conversation, especially with people who love and care about you, that's a wonderful time, you guys, to practice your muscle of disappointing, of speaking up, and just saying, yeah, I kind of have a different experience with that. I kind of enjoy it, right? And just, even if for nothing else, you could sit in it and kind of feel what your body feels and be like, or you could look at their faces and see what their response is and then be like, I survived that. Like the world kept spinning after I said what I actually thought. What about taking an extra 5 minutes if you need an extra 5 minutes? Bonus points for saying, hey, I need an extra 5 minutes. I'm running late. I need an extra 5 minutes. How about that? Because sometimes you need an extra 5 minutes. Okay. So sometimes your hair ain't working, your bubble guts kicked in, you, you the heel on your shoe broke. You made a poor time decision. You thought you could do this, but it took 20 minutes longer. And sometimes you need to ask for grace. Practice healthy disappointment. Practice being able to open up your mouth and say what you're actually thinking. Hey, I need an extra 5 minutes. What about expressing a preference when someone asks you where you want to fill in the blank, where you want to eat? What do you want to eat? What movie do you want to see? You're at a book club. Does anybody have any suggestions of which book you want to read? And you know you got a book you want to read. You know you got a book you want to read. Okay? Practice there. Also, another good way to practice is say no to small favors that don't work for you. Say no to small favors. Say no to small favors. Hey, on the way home, can you stop at the store and see if they have any of that bread? Oh, I would absolutely love to. If I have time, I will. But if it's cutting close, I have a call I have to jump on, so I might not be able to do it. That's the long way. Or, hey, on the way home, can you stop and see if they have that bread that I like? Oh, I won't be able to do it. Maybe another day. Every single time you practice saying no, every single time you practice expressing your yes, every single time you practice saying, I want this, I don't want that. I feel this, I don't feel that. You can, you can talk to me, you can handle me, you can be with me this way, but you can not be with me, talk to me, handle me that way. It strengthens your internal authenticity muscle. It strengthens your ability to speak up and hold space for your own self and then communicate it to others. And according to these studies, all of these tiny little ways that we disappoint other people is actually protecting our long-term health. It's actually contributing to a more healthy physiology because we're not self-silencing. So, the big picture of this whole video, I'm going to go through the comments in a section, is be more disappointing, you guys. Be more disappointing. Self-silencing is killing you, literally, especially if you are a woman, especially if you are a woman of color. If it's not killing you, it is increasing your inflammation and your compromised immune response that can result in all kind of craziness in our bodies, okay? And so to improve long-term health outcomes, be more honest. Expression is the opposite of depression. Express yourself, right? Paint, draw, write, tell your therapist, tell a friend, tell the person to their face. Tell your dog, okay? I don't know. Listen, bake a cake and in icing, cuss the person out and icing on top. Get it out. Better out than in. Better out than in. Your body is literally begging you. It's demanding for you to learn to speak up. Every time you choose to say, express truth over pleasing, you are choosing health. And you are modeling truth because you living in your truth helps other people live in their truth. And the truth that we know is where the liberation is. Okay. It's going to set us free. Let me go to the I was kind of looking at y'all's comments, but I wasn't fully looking at them. So let me just skim the comments. And while I'm here, let me let you guys know that the December planning retreat, I do a virtual planning retreat every single year, twice a year, well, multiple times a year. But this year I'm doing it once in December, once in January for Black and West Indian women who want to create plans based off of their unique identity to take over the year, the upcoming year. The December one is actually in the works right now. It's wrapping up today. Friday is the last day. We have been having a blast over there. Ladies, if you are on the call, if you're on the video, I'm emailing things right now, and I will see you guys this evening at 6:00. The January one starts on January 10th, and the link to join the January planning retreat, virtual planning retreat, is in the information box of the video wherever you are watching it. This year, I'm including the monthly accountability calls. Every woman that did the signed up for and finished the monthly about accountability. I can't speak. Let me get the liquids. Come on, electrolytes. Release my tongue. Okay, I don't want to be silenced. Silence is killing me. You saw that? The silence was trying to kill me. Every woman who signed up for and finished the monthly accountability calls for last year's virtual planning retreat has already signed up and for the current planning retreat and is raving about how the accountability calls help them to hit the target. They were on the board for everything in a way that they had never experienced. So if you are interested in joining us, participants for the January retreat will be able to join 9 months beyond the planning retreat, which is a week-long planning retreat. Participants for the January retreat will get 9 accountability calls, monthly accountability calls, February through October of 2025, led by me with the group of women who did the planning retreat to create the life that you want. I got it out. Okay, I want to put this back on the screen just because it's my favorite comment. Marissa says, so everybody getting told off. Cuss them. I'm sorry. I'm not going to tell y'all not to do it. Okay, I'm not going to tell y'all not to do it. Alicia said, correct. I'm preparing to have some hard conversations with some folks myself. When you have been a person silencing yourself, just like everything else, coming out of that can feel like you are giving yourself an enema, a spiritual enema. It's going to be a hard conversation, but listen, it's better to have a hard conversation up front than to be in a hard box later. Okay. I'm joking about cussing people out, but I'm also not, but I am. Don't cuss people out. Listen, there was a healthy version in this. Go back and look at the healthy version. Okay. Y'all know I'd be out here goofing off. Okay. Not either. I tell you off of my life. That's what I'm trying to say, Marissa. Okay. I knew exposure to you was shortening my life. I knew it. I know it. And so now, as I'm breathing on 50's neck, I know better. So I'm going to do better. Okay. Get thee behind me. You trying to end my life. What you doing? Okay. Anyway, let me keep going here. No one is covering us. Yeah, Alicia, that's the sad part about, and that's why I am becoming so much more intentional about creating community. Oh, speaking about community, the Black Women Healing Fund that I had started and then closed, and now it's open. It's open again. This past year, I collected $700 via my Patreon to help a Black woman on her healing journey. Small or large amount, it doesn't matter. If I have it, you can apply if you're a Black woman and you have something that will bring you joy or help you on your healing journey, there should be a link in the information box. And if not, I would go back and add it. It's bit.ly/glamazini, I think, healing fund. Ooh, I don't know what it is. I'll put it in the information box. That money is to help with community care. That's what I'm saying. That's why I am becoming more of active in creating whatever small amounts of community care that I can for Black women, because in the environment that we are in right now, we need us. Until those who should cover us come along and put the covering where the covering should be, because I'm gonna still hold up hope for them to figure it out. But until then, okay. All right, let me see. Weena said, from personal experience, I've experienced less autoimmune flares and attacks ever since I noticed this and just expressed my feelings at the time rather than bottling them up to be nice. I'm going to leave that on the screen for y'all. Weena said, my body was trying to take me out. This is what I learned from that Martha Beck episode of the Diary of the CEO. Once again, go and watch it. I will put a link to it after the fact, because I'm not Martha Beck. I don't have her background. I'm going to do my best to explain it to you guys. The systems in our brain and body that govern verbal processing and the systems that govern muscle strength, innervation of the nerves to the muscles, are opposing systems, as in when one is off, one, like they toggle. So when you are saying a lie, according to Martha, there you cannot access the verbal processing system to have an imaginary verbal thing come out of your mouth and have strong muscle innervation at the same time. And when you watch the video, you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. And this is the thing that my acupuncturist did. And I was like, what is this acupuncturist doing? And I finally see it now from a neurological standpoint. When you speak the truth, you can access the innervation for muscle strength. So every single time you say a lie, you're basically, like, for a split second, shutting off the energy source to your body, to your muscles. Martha explains it so much better, but go watch that because it's fascinating. Okay. Lying is shutting off your body's ability to respond with strength. Just for a nanosecond. Right? The kindest thing you can do is disappoint someone with the truth. Disappoint someone else, not yourself. Healing, I am a Black woman healing, and I create humor-filled spaces so that other Black and West Indian women can heal too. What is healing, Roshini? Healing is a return to wholeness. Healing is a return to the divine integrated you that God intended. You can't get in front of God and tell God, I spent my entire life trying to make everybody else happy. He gonna ask you, what did you do with the talents I gave you? I made you. What you doing? And what you gonna say? He was like, I put you there to be you. Were you? And you're gonna say, no, God, I wasn't me because I felt like me was disappointing? How you gonna say that to him? And if that's not how you want it to go down, then don't do it. Stop now. Stop right now. Do something different. Go back, rewatch this video, and take in all of the small choices that you can say. And every single day you open your eyes and wake up, get comfortable with not being quote unquote liked. Get comfortable with not being quote unquote understood. Get comfortable. Learn how to sit in that comfort. Listen, if you want white women to learn how to sit in the discomfort of understanding how their intersectionality can affect us, then you got to learn how to sit in discomfort too. You can't sit here trying to ask other people to sit in discomfort when you can't sit in discomfort. I need to get off the video because the video is finished. Okay. I love and appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing people. And the one thing I did want to say is, I'm probably not going to be live on Fridays. I'm usually live on Fridays at 12:30 Central Standard Time. I am taking a work break, a work sabbatical, a work Sabbath. Pray for your girl because I like what I do. So I'm gonna try my best to like sit down somewhere. It doesn't mean I'm not gonna be on the internet. It does mean though that I might pre-record some videos and put them up. If I'm going to be around, I will let you know. But I most likely will not be live on this channel on Friday like this until January the 10th. So I'm gonna have a couple weeks off. There might be live videos that I put up. Okay. You can always work with me as your coach, thepineapplecrowns.com. I would love to have more women come through and do the January planning retreat. It's going to be a good time. And I'm so excited because I included the accountability call. And so we be having a good time on the accountability calls. They'd be amazing. Anyway, if I don't see you live again before the Christmas, which is next week, how'd that happen? Create the most amazing holiday season. Thanks, you guys. I'll see you guys. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Okay. Be well, you guys. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Be encouraged. Speak up. Listen, let me end this with the closing of my podcast. Okay. Let me end this with the closing of my podcast, the I've Created a Monster podcast, because I feel like this is apropos for today's video. Show up. Speak up. F something up and create your own monster. I love it. Here's a pineapple. Okay. Bye, you guys. Bye.